Wind cuts across the valley like a bone saw. The rifle strap is frozen into a rigid loop against my shoulder, edges of the leather crackling white. My eyelashes have become needles, small translucent spears that blind when I blink. The air is metal, unbreathable without rhythm. Inhale 3 seconds. Exhale steam to prevent lungs from freezing. The moose tracks ahead sink deep into blue crust. Each step is an equation of calorie loss versus necessity. I do not think of hunger or heroism, only friction, momentum, and the weight of a trigger that refuses to move. The village lies 60 kilometers behind, sealed in ice like a trapped lung. I move north through a corridor of frost dunes, where sound fractures in the air and never returns. The snow here is not white but layered glass, each plate scoring the boots until fabric fibers split. My sled is a welded frame, steel over birch runners, carrying diesel blocks, an axe, a manual saw, 2 sealed rations, and 1 outdated rifle with a bent sight. The thermometer needle has frozen past its base at negative 71 degrees centigrade. It no longer measures, it only warns. Breath crystallizes into ribbons that hang before the face, slow-moving veils of vapor. There is no horizon, only gradients of blue density and the faint hum of blood moving slower inside the wrists. I count steps by pulse beats, every 50. I recalibrate the strap tension and confirm function. The rifle jams at the first attempt. The bolt refuses its channel, locked by a thread of ice invisible to the eye. I keep my glove on, force it once, twice, until the metal yields and tears fabric. Skin bonds instantly to steel. Removal takes part of the palm. Blood darkens before it can fall, freezing into a flat maroon glaze across the receiver. I register the data, right hand compromised. Friction loss at 40%. The moose trail veers into broken terrain, dense willow and shallow ravines where the sled cannot follow. I unstrap the load, isolate fuel and provisions, and mark the coordinates with a flare stub. The match sputters, half-length, then extinguishes in the wind. I continue marking distance by scent of diesel, faint on the gloves. Pain narrows perception to geometry, angles of grip, distance to next ridge, probability of weapon function in minus 71 degrees. The wind shifts east and the valley becomes a tunnel of noise. Each step requires recalculation, heel compression, toe release, energy retention. My left boot liner has frozen mid-flex, forcing the ankle into a fixed angle. I note the failure. Adjust cadence. Redistribute weight to the opposite knee. Heat rations have hardened inside their foil. I chew them without taste, the jaw joint clicking from cold fatigue. The moose tracks reappear across an incline of black frost where air shimmers like bent glass. Every surface reflects a spectrum of pale blue, identical, depthless. I no longer distinguish movement from illusion, so I record each footprint with the camera on my chest rig. Proof for later. The logic loop continues. Scan, align, advance, breathe. A pulse of steam in the distance signals the animal's respiration. The hunt narrows to arithmetic mass. Velocity, trajectory. My breathing syncs with the bolt action's grind, and pain stabilizes into rhythm. All systems remain functional within degradation limits. The moose stands against the wind, a monument of frost and breath. Ice has grown along its hide like armor, each hair sheathed in glass. I calculate mass, 7,000 kilograms, minimum, and aim for the heart cavity, adjusted 5 centimeters for refraction through dense cold air. The trigger moves slower than memory allows. Detonation shatters the silence. Recoil numbs the shoulder, then stops registering. The animal lurches forward, half collapsing, half charging through the shockwave. I step aside as its shadow breaks over me, the body folding in segments. Horns scythe past my face, missing by a margin I measure but do not feel. When it settles, steam pours from the wound and freezes into a column. I approach, confirm absence of motion, then cut along the sternum with a saw that squeals like wire on bone. The smell escapes, warm and immediate. I record coordinates, temperature, and time of termination. Operation complete. I section the carcass into measurable units before the light fades. The first slabs freeze within minutes, forming rigid planes of protein. I tag each with charcoal numerals and stack them along the sled. Weight balanced to the millimeter. Blood freezes into black glass around my boots, sealing the ground where I stood. I rewrap the damaged hand with gauze from the medkit. Note decreased dexterity, and compensate by tightening straps with the teeth. The rifle is cleaned using diesel vapor for heat. Barrel thawed until the bolt resets to baseline function. I log temperature, negative 71.3 degrees centigrade. Wind steady at 23 knots east. Load capacity now exceeds safety threshold. But retreat remains mandatory. I face south and begin the return sequence. Breath sinks to pace count. 2 in, 1 out. The valley behind exhales fog through the moose's frozen lungs. All data remains intact. Wind cuts across the valley like a bone saw. The sled trails behind, creaking under frozen weight. A straight line of pressure through the white plain. The thermometer has cracked. The mercury sealed into silence. I move until sensation separates from motion, until footsteps register only as vibration through snow. Ahead, the horizon divides into lightless blue and lighter blue, coordinates without meaning. The rifle strap has frozen again, welded to the coat's seam. I adjust nothing. I walk, count pulses, measure breath. In 3 hours, another hunt will begin. Temperature constant, friction constant. The program continues its loop.